Hey, you there. Are you an Acron main? Are you looking to make your Acron better? Are you wondering to yourself, but what if? It won't. We have Meow Meow early server videos out now, so it's time for me to doom post another unit. Hello people, Remy here, and in this video I'm gonna tell you why you should skip Cipher. As usual, in order for me to give you my reasoning, I'm gonna explain what she does first. Cipher is a quantum nihility unit. Her role in the team is to passively apply a vulnerability debuff to every enemy on the field, making them take more damage from your allies. Vulnerability is a type of debuff that works on every damage type in the game, regardless if it's skill damage, ultimate damage, basic attack, follow-up, or even break damage. So just from this alone, she can seem to be a very good general support. I say that with quotation marks for a reason, but I'll come back to it in a bit. She also has a debuff in her skill that makes a targeted enemy and enemies adjacent to it deal less damage for a set amount of turns. This doesn't do much in terms of buffing your team's damage. It's mainly a survivability thing, but even then I wouldn't count on it. Another neat part about her kit is she has a once per turn follow-up attack. The follow-up attack by itself isn't really important, but it does help her out with doing things that require hitting an enemy, such as proccing War Armor stacks, proccing Robin's additional damage, applying Resolution Light Cone effect, charging up Fei Xiao ultimate, and so on. The way to trigger this follow-up attack is by simply having allies hit an enemy who's marked by her passive. By default, Cipher will always have one enemy marked, prioritizing the one with the highest max HP, but you can manually select which enemy to mark by using her skill or ultimate. While you practically won't be doing this all the time, it is ideal for you to mark the enemy that you're going to kill in the time being, especially when you're using a single target DPS. The mark itself doesn't actually make the target take more damage or anything, but it does interact with another part of Cipher's kit. Cipher will record a small portion of the damage done by your entire team to the entire enemy. But when your allies deal damage to the marked enemy, Cipher will record more of the damage dealt. Let me explain using Fei Xiao and Cipher as an example. Let's say there's two enemies on the field, an elite and a mob. Let's say the mark is on the elite enemy, cause that's how it will be by default. If Fei Xiao deals damage to the mob enemy who's unmarked, Cipher will only record a little bit of the damage dealt, but if Cipher moves the mark to the mob beforehand, she'll record more of the damage dealt. By the way, Cipher will only record damage that's not true damage, and is also not overkill damage. Now that we know about the recorded damage, let's talk about her ult. By itself, Cipher ult doesn't actually deal a lot of damage. The main use of the ultimate is to unleash all that recorded damage from before. So in this sense, you might not even want to always use her ult on cooldown, which also makes Energy Rope not the mandatory choice. TLDR, she makes enemies take more damage by existing. She records damage done by your entire team, then dishes it out with her ult. Now after all that being said, why do I think you should skip Cipher? Let's get the simple reasons out of the way first. She's not a meta defining unit, she's not a must pull, nobody is a must pull. If you really like her for whatever reason, waifu, cat girl, coins, then you do what you want. If she doesn't have a real role in your account, then you absolutely don't need her in your account. Do not get baited by the funny Cipher screenshot number showcases, do not be greedy and stupid, and do not fall for the FOMO. If you don't even know why you're pulling for her, then just save your jades, or even better, your money. I don't think Cipher is all that of a unit, even as a general support. Her entire gimmick is dishing out the recorded damage back to the enemy using her ultimate. This kinda means that she's not the most auto-friendly unit there is, cause you have to rely on AI to do somewhat optimal damage rotations in between her ultimate. And I've seen AI firing off Fei Xiao ultimates outside of Robin's ultimate. It could also lead to moments like Cipher somehow getting her ult earlier than usual, firing off her ult on cooldown, even though she hasn't recorded that much damage, so her ult will just tickle the enemy. Also, I despise that term so much. General support. Honestly, I don't think anyone should be pulling for a general anything. Support, sustain, whatever it is. If you're gonna spend your jades to improve your team, then pick the best option for that team. I'll talk about it more in the future, but Star Rail is sadly not really the type of game where you can just mix and match your favorites. Most of the units basically already have a predetermined team, or sometimes teams, that they're meant to be slotted into. Like, yeah, Cipher's vulnerability can work with break damage, but if you're thinking of pulling Cipher to vertical your break team, I'd much rather you pull someone like May if you didn't pick her with the free token thing, or Feud. In my opinion, the only players who could consider pulling Cipher are the people who still use Fei Xiao, but you didn't pull for Topaz. Even better if you haven't raised your Hunt 7 or Mose. Then again, if you're using Fei Xiao without any one of those three is a bit odd, but anyways. If you already pulled Topaz for Fei Xiao, I don't think you should get Cipher. Even if Cipher is an upgrade over Topaz, which is on a high bar to begin with, you would essentially be paying double the cost for that Fei Xiao sub DPS slot. Cause you already wasted your jades on Topaz before, and you're about to do it again with Cipher. Another type of players who could consider getting Cipher are, like mentioned in the beginning of the video, Acheron mains. But what if it won't? In my opinion, I don't think Cipher can directly replace Jiao Chou for Acheron, at least without vertical investments on Cipher, like E2S1. What do her Eidolons and signature do, you ask? More damage. Let's leave it at that. Now, I know I said replace, cause this is in the context of E2 Acheron, where she would only require one Nihility in the team. If you're an Acheron player in the Big 25, where she's still E0, and you couldn't be bothered to pull Jiao Chou by now, you probably don't even care for her at this point. In which case, just save your jades, bench the team altogether. And if you're not in either of these specific pools of players, I think you should definitely just skip Cipher. If you're not convinced yet, then I have another reason on why you should skip the Quantum Nihility General Support, who's focused on applying debuffs to the enemies so your allies can do more damage. And that's because you probably already have one. Thanks to Cipher being in the latter half of 3.3, this means we could get early info on the 3.4 units before Cipher's banner goes away. And in that 3.4 early info, we should be able to know about post-buff Silver Wolf. If we find out that post-buff Silver Wolf is just as good as Cipher is, and you already have her in your account, then why oh why on Clippa's rock hard abs would you even waste your jades to pull Cipher? And besides, you know who else is in 3.4? Kevin!
この明かりは星の希望。地を照らす命の証。見るがいい。エクスカリバー！
Okay, I might be slightly biased here, but my point still stands. 3.4 is very loaded with key banners, from who I believe is one of, if not the most hyped characters from the Emphoria story, and maybe even more so for Honkai Impact fans, Finon, to the collab units who have been teased since a year ago, Saber and Archer. Granted, we know absolutely nothing about what these units do, but at the end of the day, some of y'all have probably been waiting and saving to pull for them ever since even the thought of getting them was introduced. And if you do want to get these units, then why are you even thinking about pulling Cipher for? This next point is mainly for the fake units, but let me remind y'all once again. Star Rail units will always come back later. They will definitely go on a rerun sometime in the future, but the same can't be said for fake units. Once they're gone, they're probably gone for good. It's very rare for collab banners to get a rerun in gacha games. If you really, for whatever reason, want to get the fake units, mainly Saber because Archer is given for free, but you can only afford one of the units in the time being, then I'd say just focus on the collab banners instead. Of course, in the same way, if you don't care about the Fate units, then you do whatever you want. If y'all are curious about my own pull plans, I personally will be skipping Cipher. She has no real valuable use in my account. Even though I have an Acheron without Jiao Cho and Fei Xiao without a Topaz, I'm not actually looking to improve their teams. I don't care about Acheron, and I mainly got Fei Xiao so that I can clear the Herda Space Station Adventure Stage. Not to mention, I already have Silver Wolf from back when I was randomly throwing Jades at every banner in version 1. So if her buff turns out to be good, I would have even less incentive to pull Cipher. But all this, at the end of the day, is just my opinion. If you're still unsure about your own pull plans, feel free to comment down your roster and ask away. I'm by no means a sweaty nerd who knows the perfect pull plan for every account, but at least I can give a pointer or two. Once again, reminding y'all that this is your own decision to make. Your account, your Jades, your choice. I'm just a random yapper on the internet. I wish you win all your 50/50s. And that's about it. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, comment down your thoughts, feedbacks are greatly appreciated and I'll be reading through them. If you want to see more of me, consider hitting the subscribe button, it's free. I'll be doing more of these yap videos in the future, even for other games. Now take a sip of water and have a good day.